Okay, so hello and welcome back to another Unity tutorial. In this one we're going to be carrying on with the series that I started yesterday, doing an intro video into creating character abilities from games, or creating characters from games. Obviously some of you left suggestions in the comment section. I can't do them all at once, so I'm going to get through them one at a time. I gave a suggestion for Genji because it's something quite simple and I've seen other people do it, and it's something to get into, start off the series with, and someone else in the comments said so I thought it'd be a good idea to start off. We're going to create his dash and his double jump mechanic, and then if you guys want a part 2 for this one, then I'll do his shuriken 3 in a row and 3 spread out. But that's only I'll do that as a separate video if you want that, because that's kind of not an ability, it's an attack, but it's up to you. If you guys want it, then obviously comment below that you want to see that. Otherwise I'll just move on to another character after this one. And as for the actual ability system I started messing around with last video, I'm going to kind of scrap that for now, because until I know that enough people want to watch this series and have me continue it, then I'm not going to bother making a system like that, because this series is more about just creating the mechanics rather than a system to house those mechanics. But if you guys do want that, then obviously just ask as always. So yeah, I'm going to start off this video now. Let's get into it, so this video doesn't take too long. So thanks to my patrons, thanks to Michael, Paul Robinson, Phil Borman, Norwegian Viking. If anyone else would like to help out the community, then link in the description below, and so is the join channel thing on my page now if you all want to help support that way. But apart from that, let's get into it and get this done. So we've got a few things to do. Since last video, I have simply added arms to my player just by putting some cubes and then stretched them to cuboids, attached it to the camera, so when I look around the camera, I can look up and down my arms. Now, I know I haven't clamped my look, so I can technically look over my head, but I don't really care about that right now. I'm not going to spend time on that. I mean, I could, but I'll do it some other time. Might do it off camera. I've already covered it before. So what I've actually done is I have created a prefabs folder. Haven't put anything in it, so let's put the player base in it. The player base has just the normal stuff, and the player movement controller, yeah, whatever. This is just a normal player. Everyone's going to be like this. So I've made a prefab, which, as you know, you can just spawn in copies of. But one difference is we are going to make Genji this video. So what do we want to do? We want to drag it down here and say, would you like to create an original or a variant? Let's create a variant. So it's kind of deriving from this, just like a class can derive. And we're going to call it Genji. All right. So let's just call this Genji. So this is now Genji in the scene, right? If we deleted it, dragged it back in, set it to 100, we're at Genji, we're on Genji. So what we want to do is want to add code to him that's just for him. And if we ever tweaked rigid body settings on the base, then all the rigid body settings would change, unless we'd specifically changed it in one of these files, in which case it would overwrite it. So we've got Genji, we've got these walls, and that's about it. So let's get into it. What we need to do is we need to go, well, one thing is I deleted the ability cast system because it was just a bit silly. And if you go look at the scripts I've got for I haven't touched the player scripts, but if I go to the ability scripts, I removed the, let's just go to here. On the dash move, I've just changed it to be called Genji dash, and I'll show you what we're going to do with this in a minute. We want to change it a bit from this one. This is just adding a force and a direction, and it's not that great. We do want to do some changes to that to make it more like Genji's actual ability. So I think I tweaked this. I just made it have simply the function cast rather than having all the different input things. We're simply just going to do the input in the ability. It's much quicker to do right now, and as I said, if the video series goes on long enough, I'll make a better system for it, but until then I'll just keep it simple, just saying all abilities have a cast function. For now this seems redundant, but it's good having them all derive from ability, so when we do want to add in functionality, we can just add it in here and all our abilities get it. So it's a good thing for planning ahead. We're just going to simply have this ability class. So we've got Genji dash, I've just renamed it. Dash force, this is all the same from last video, but what we want to do is we want to make this cast a coroutine rather than a function, just normal void. So we're going to call it, well, no, we're going to keep it called cast, but we'll say enumerator, which makes it a coroutine. Done plenty of videos on those. And all that means is now if we go here, we want public override void, I enumerator, like so, and import. Alright, and what we need to do is we need to, instead of saying cast, we're going to say start coroutine, if I can spell. Start coroutine cast. Alright. Now it's given us an error, and that's because we don't yet return anything, and it's got a return type other than void. So what we need to do is we need to add a force wait for a certain amount of seconds, and then remove the force. So we're going to need to have a variable. We're going to need to have a serialized field, private float dash duration, like so. And then we're going to add a force. We're then going to say yield return new wait for seconds dash duration, which basically just means we're going to add a force and then wait for the amount of time the dash is. And then after that, we're just going to say, well, we want to actually store this rigid body. It'd be a bit silly just to get it like this every time. So let's store a private rigid body RB, and on the awake, so in the awake, RB is get component rigid body. If you've used Unity before, this kind of thing is very common, you know, just storing a reference to something and getting it on awake. That's very common to initialize. So here we want to just say RB instead of get component. We've already stored it. And then at the end we want to say rb.velocity is equal to vector3.0. For now, I'm just going to remove all velocity after the dash, because if you've played Genji before, you don't fly after your dash. Once you've done your dash, you just drop and fall unless you have more input. If you're moving, you'll keep moving, and if you're jumping, you can carry on jumping afterwards. So that's fine. And we're going to change this from an impulse to velocity change, which basically, if we're like falling straight down, we don't want to. Well, you'll see. If the difference between impulse is using the mass. I mean, velocity change is basically the same, ignoring the mass, because we don't want to have to worry about our character's mass to actually balance the force value. Because if we ever change the mass of the player's object, we don't want to tweak this. It'd be a bit silly. So we'll keep it consistent. And to be honest, instead of adding a force, we could literally just set the velocity. Because some games, no matter how fast you're falling, if you jump, you'll just start moving upwards. It won't like be a resistive force. So to be honest, what I'm probably going to do actually, yeah, I think that might make more sense. I'll comment this out and we'll try both and see how it feels to use. Because in the end, it's all about how the ability feels. So we'll say rb.velocity is equal to, we just want an upwards velocity for this. So we're going to say, take that. Not an upwards, sorry, we're not jumping. This is the dash. So actually, no, for the dash we're fine. We're fine how it is for the dash. It's for the other thing. We might want to change it when we do double jump. So let's leave this as it is now and see how it works. If we go back to Genji and give it a second, on Genji we can add the Genji dash and set the force to be, I don't know, 50 and the duration to be 0.2. So that's 0.2 seconds before you come to a stop with a force of 50. And then, I don't know, that might be loads or not a lot. And we want to override and play. So, save that. And if I've done stuff correctly, then this should work. So if I, no it's not. Oh yeah, so one thing I forgot to mention that I did off like camera when I was testing this is I added this input rather than the one we used to have with the stupid if we press EQ or R. I've just put, you know, if we press the left shift button, then cast. Now, obviously, you want to add a cooldown system and so on, but for now, it's fine. We're just going to dash. So, left shift, dash. So, as you see, what happens is you look somewhere, you dash, and after the dash, you just fall to the ground, which is how it works in the game. Obviously, yeah, you can still move midair because I've not made it so you can't, so you can. Now, currently, we have single jump. The other thing we need to do for Genji is we need to make him double jump. You know, we need to be able to jump twice. It's a bit of a weird move in the sense of if you jump off the ground, you get 2 jumps, whereas if you fall off a ledge and jump, I think, as far as I can remember, you just get 1 jump. Like, if you drop off a ledge, that almost counts as you have to kick off the ground to get your first jump, is what I'm meaning. So, what we need to do is we need to use the player's character controller, but we want to tweak it. So the way we do that is we inherit from it with a Genji movement controller, and we only change what we need to. So in the Genji folder, I'm going to make a new thing called Genji movement controller, and we're going to open that up, and we're going to say it's in the same namespace, so it's creating characters abilities. It's not really an ability, but it's fine. And we want to inherit from movement controller. Movement controller. I need to actually say player movement controller. The reason it doesn't come up as a spelling thing is because I've not imported that yet. So there we go. And what do we want to do in here? Well, before we can actually override everything, or anything, we have to, let it know that we can do that. So let me just, it'll be much faster if I can open it up in here. There you go. Here's all our scripts. If we go to our player movement controller, we want to make lots of stuff protected and public, usually protected. And that's so that we can access it and change it. So if we make this protected, we might want to reference the move speed if we inherit at some point. We might want to reference the jump force. We might want to reference the rigid body. Might want to reference, probably not that. The awake function, maybe. So protected virtual void awake, meaning we can inherit, well, we can override it, sorry, and add to it or change it. Protected virtual. I'm going to do a lot of protected virtual, so let's just copy and paste. Move, we might change how move works, and jump. Some character might have a different jump, which is what we're doing right now. Grounded. It doesn't need to, we're not going to make it virtual, because virtual means you can override it. We just want to be able to use it, so make it protected. We're not going to change its functionality, though. It's going to do the same thing. It's going to raycast check from the ground. So now, we can use this here. So what do you want to do? We want to say protected virtual void override void. And we can override these 4 functions. These are the 4 that we can possibly override. Now we want to override jump. So we're saying, what do we do when we jump? Well, currently, we do this. So let's just, for now, take this and we'll tweak it. So when we jump, we say, check spacebar. Well, no, jump gets called every frame to handle jumping. And we say, if we press spacebar and if we're on the ground, jump. But Genji's a bit different because if he jumps off the ground, he can then jump again without being on the ground. And then if he walks off a ledge, he can get a jump, where normally if you walk off a ledge, you can't jump. Normally when you've walked off a ledge, you just fall. So we need a jump counter. So we need a private integer jump count. Make sure it's 0. And what we want to do is we want to have some logic in here for handling that. So let's just comment this out. So we want to say, okay, if we jump, so if input space, whatever, if we press the space key, then what do we care about? Well, we kind of want to check our jump count, right? Because if we're on jump count 0, we can jump no matter what. If we've walked off the edge or if we're just on the ground, as Genji, you can jump no matter what. So if the jump count, I mean, we can say like switch jump count. This is, some people like switch statements. I like switch statements. I can't type jump count for some reason. All right, switch jump count. In the case that it's 0, what we're going to do? Well, if the jump count's 0, then we want to just simply jump. So we want to say that rb.addForce. Well, actually, we're going to try the velocity thing. So we'll say rb.velocity is equal to, and then vector3 times jump force. We can try that at least. So yep, if we jump, then we do that, and then we say jump count equals, well, actually, the jump count now depends on whether we were grounded or not, because, I'm actually going to change this to spec to an if, because it makes it a lot easier to do. We'll say if jump count was equal to 0, then do this. We're going to set the velocity to be a jump thing, and we're going to say jump count is equal to 1. I mean, I could do plus plus, but you'll see why I don't in a second. So set it equal to 1, and obviously we can't jump again. That's how a normal thing would work. But on Genji, it's different. We also want to say down here, else if jump count is equal to 1, then what do we do? So when jump count's 1, you can jump again. So we'll do that, and we'll set it equal jump count to 2, right? But difference is when we're on 0, there's 2 different cases. There's the case that we are on the ground and the case that we aren't on the ground. So we add a force no matter what. Then we say if grounded. So if we're grounded, the jump count goes to 1. Whereas if we're not grounded, I'm going to say it goes to 2. And the point is, 2 means you've used up all your jumps. I mean, to be honest, how I could do it, I think it makes a lot more sense in terms of reading. If you say private int remaining jumps is equal to 2, as in, we've got 2 more jumps we can do. So I'm going to say, actually, no, that's a bit different. I would have to tweak this around. It makes sense. And hopefully it makes sense to you guys. I'll explain it again now. So if we haven't jumped, jump, right? No matter what. And then if we're on the ground, we'll say we've jumped once. And if we're not on the ground, we'll say we've jumped twice. And the reason is because it's as if it consumes 2 jumps from you. Yeah, again, setting it to 1, it just seems right if you did plus plus. And then here you did plus equals 2. And then here you said equals 2. I don't know, I'm getting a bit fussy about it. It really doesn't matter. I should stop caring. It's going to work and it's fine. So if we're not grounded when we jump, we'll just say, all right, that's all our jumps gone. Whereas if we're on the ground, we're allowed to do it again, is the point. And that's fine, so we can get rid of this now. We could try this. The only problem is when we land on the ground, it's not going to reset. So what you want to do is you want to say when we jump at the start, if you jump and you're out of jumps basically. Well, actually, yeah, if it's not 0 and you're grounded, so if jump count is greater than 0, so if we're on 1 jump or 2 jumps, but we're actually on the ground when we try and jump, so then we say if grounded. So if we are on the ground when we try and do that jump, then we want to say jump count is equal to 0, right? If we try jumping and we're on the ground and we say we've got some jumps, we could reset it when we hit the ground, but then there's different complications with that. This should work just fine. But the way for it to actually work is we need to attach it to the player. So get rid of the player movement controller and add on the Genji movement controller. And I think that was like 4 and 5 or something. So let's have a go at that. Apply, play, and we'll see what happens. So if I try dash, we dash. If I try jump once, try jump twice, jump, jump. Can only jump twice. Jump, jump. Jump, jump, right? And if I go onto this box, for example, by double jumping onto it, whoops, right? If I'm on this box and I fall off it and jump, I only get 1 jump. Let me get on the box again. I don't think I actually got a jump there. One sec. So, if jump count 0. I add the force anyway. Let's just debug log here. Debug.log jumping. Just give it a second. I know it's technically jumping in more places than just that, but I just want to make sure something's working. So if I go over to my box, I just sometimes press the Windows key to bring that up easier. So if I fall off and jump, notice how when I press spacebar, it doesn't actually do the jump. So what's going on here? Well, I wonder what jump count is at that time, because oh, I get it. So this actually doesn't work because when I yeah, okay, we're gonna have to tweak that. I thought that would be a nice solution, but we're gonna have to do it the other way, which is, you know, the way I would go about doing it normally, would just be to protected override void update, do the normal stuff. Base.update means do the normal functions in the update, and then on the end of that we want to say if is grounded, then jump count is equal to 0. Now that's not perfect, that's not flawless. There are ways around that. Like, for example, the raycast might reset your grounded trigger as you're going up, because you might jump, set it false, and then touch the ground again. It can happen. But anyway, jump, jump. So we get 2 jumps. Jump, 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 jump. You know, it works. Now if I go on here and I fall off and jump, does it work? Yep, it does. But I only get 1. So double jump onto here, fall off, jump. I only get 1. I try spamming spacebar. It only does 1 jump. So fall off, jump. I only get 1 jump. Double jump onto it, dash. Jump, jump, dash. So it all works. So we actually got a Genji controller going here. So if you want to see the shuriken, you know, throwing 3 shurikens in a line and 3 to the right, then, you know, feel free. I might actually, I do kind of want to do that, because then I kind of finish off Genji without his ult. I don't care about the ult, really. Then I can move on to a new character and just keep the series going. So if any of you got ideas, like cool ideas for abilities that are a bit more interesting than jumping and dashing, then feel free to go ahead and comment those below. Leave a like and subscribe if you like the content, join our Discord server, all of the above. But yeah, as I said, these videos obviously are going to start off simple, just to it's always nice in series to start off simple. I can never say that word. I don't know if it's even a word, the plural of series. If anyone knows, then obviously let me know in the description. I could just look it up on Google, but you know, whatever. So yeah, I've said everything. Hope you enjoy the series. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.